Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss about a very important topic of plant pathology, that is integrated disease management. There are three principal components for establishment of a disease in a particular crop. These are the host, environment, and pathogen. To establish a particular disease, the host must be susceptible, environment must be conducive for the growth and development of the pathogen, and pathogen must be very virulent to attack the susceptible host. And the interrelationship between these three principal components is generally expressed through a triangle. But many a cases, or in most of the cases, we should add another component, that is time. I mean to say, among this factor or among these three principal components, time also plays an important role. It is the time at which the host must be susceptible, environment must be conducive at that time, and pathogen must be virulent at that time only. Then and then only disease will established in a particular susceptible host. And then the interrelationship between these four principal components like host, environment, time, as well as pathogen is expressed by disease pyramid. But if in any case only host is there but other components are not there, likely the environment is there but pathogen as well as host is absent, in that case there will be no disease, that means no problem to the host. Before going into the details of the topic, that is IDM, let us understand the meaning of the word control. Control means total wipeout of any pathogen from an environment. But this is not acceptable for a particular ecosystem. If we wipe out a particular organism from an environment, it may create imbalance in the ecosystem. That's why we generally suggest to manage a particular problem. I mean to say, management means maintain the population of a pathogen or other organism below economic injury level or economic threshold level. And doing so, we have to take care of the host, that is our agricultural crop, environment, the time, as well as pathogen. There should not be any imbalance at the time of adopting any management strategy in a particular condition. So, the management approaches which is in favor of the host, that is the agricultural crops, but against the enemy, that is pathogen, it may be fungi, bacteria, mycoplasma, and with a modification of the environment but without disturbing the environment is known as IDM, that is integrated disease management. An IDM program implies all the available disease management approaches including cultural, biological and chemical control or management, with the main objective to keep the disease incidence below the economic threshold level. At the time of adopting any management practices, so we have to take care of three components. Number one, host, then pathogen and environment. So the management practice which are in favor of the host are improve plant vigor, induce resistance through cultural practices, and then breeding for resistance, and many more examples are there. But the practices that are against the pathogen, that includes practices directed to eradicate or reduce the inoculum, then preventing through legislation, followed by direct protection through application of chemical pesticides. And in case of environment, the main component are we can manage a particular disease through proper management of the water, soil as well as crop health. IDM include regulatory inspection, cultural practices like crop rotation, sanitation, pruning, and many more. Then biocontrol, it includes use of resistant variety, use of fungal, bacterial or viral biocontrol agent, then use of classical biological control agent, then physical control. The storage temperature is a good example of physical control. By managing the storage temperature, many diseases can be managed very nicely. Followed by chemical control like soil fumigation, treatment of planting material, application of spray, disinfestation of the cuttings, tools, crates, warehouses, etc. We can define integrated disease management or IDM as this is a management practice that involve all the possible management approaches with the least cost involved, less damage to the environment that lead to sustainable production. And the main aim of IDM is to maximize the profit. Thus, IDM is a greener alternative to the conventional use of chemicals, which is an attempt to promote natural, economic, and sociological farming methods through the most effective combination of farming technique and judicious and limited use of pesticide like fungicide, antibiotic, etc. There are a number of criteria for formulating integrated disease management approaches or the strategies. Number one is crop and disease must be national or regional importance. I mean to say, against all type of crop and all type of diseases, it is not necessary to formulate integrated disease management strategies. Secondly, serious cause of the disease by the pathogen, followed by inadequate control measures. I mean to say, for the pathogen or a particular disease, control measures may be there, but those control measures may be ineffective to curb the problem of a particular pathogen or particular disease. Followed by use of pesticide is generating more problem, and the IDM which are to be formulated that should be acceptable by the growers, and it must be economically as well as socially acceptable. The main goal or the aim of IDM are as follows. Number one, its aim is to eliminate or reduce the initial inoculum below economic injury level, followed by to reduce the effectiveness of initial inoculum, then increase the resistance power of the host, delay the onset of the disease is another important point, followed by slows down the secondary cycle of the disease, then facilitating better pesticide management, and ultimately help in production with improved quality. So these are the main goal or the aim of integrated disease management approaches. There are a number of advantages for integrated disease management practices. Number one, IDM gives emphasis on all the three components, that is host, pathogen as well as environment. Followed by it helps in reduce the use of chemical pesticides. It involves less cost, so ultimately cost benefit ratio will be more for the growers. It affects less damage to the environment. There is a less chance of development of resistance by a pathogen against different type of approaches that are generally used in case of formulating integrated disease management practices, and then it helps in maintaining the ecological balance. This is the most important part. With this, I would like to thank you all for watching this short video on integrated disease management, where I try to explain that integrated disease management approaches in a befitting way. Thank you.